So what do you do when you need to respond directly to a student? There's a series of techniques called reflective listening that Laura's going to go over that work incredibly.
Okay. All right, so you've set up your class, you've got good policies, and most of the time we don't have tons of problems. Most of our students are good, but occasionally you're going to run into problems. And ultimately, we can't control those students. We can't control how they're going to behave or how they're going to react or what they're going to do. We can only control ourselves, so that's what we need to focus on. So what can you do? I'm going to give you some basic techniques in terms of reflective listening that go a long way in bringing down incivilities, and they work in all situations. So regardless of whether it's the student's personal life, it's a cultural disconnect, regardless of what's going on, you can apply these techniques in any situation. On page 17 of your packet is where it kind of gives you some bullet points of some of the things that we're going to talk about. And like we said, basically it boils down to two things. Students get upset about policies and grades. Those are the two most common things that you're going to have to deal with. So when they come to you, they're upset about your policies or the grade that they're getting in their class. Often they're confrontational. They want to argue. This is so unfair. You blankety blank, and that's their attitude. And they expect you to come right back with that. And I think when I was a new teacher, you're so caught off guard. Like you haven't even been coming to class. How is it that you're yelling at me for the fact that you're failing? And that's what you want to say back to them. Hey, wait a minute, what about you? And now you're just in an argument back and forth that's going nowhere. And so the best approach when they're coming at you and they're angry is just listen. Just let them vent. Just let them go. Don't argue. Don't take on a debate. You don't need to defend your policies. You don't need to defend yourself. Just listen. And be thinking to yourself, this student is under a lot of stress. It has nothing to do with me. Just be kind of thinking to yourself, this is okay. So, and then once they appear to kind of have gotten out their case that they want to make to you, let them make their entire case. Just listen. And that kind of disarms them sometimes right off the bat because they expect you to come back angry at them. And if you just listen and let them vent, that changes, that kind of calms it down right there. And then the first thing out of your mouth I recommend is something that acknowledges their feelings and their frustrations. So acknowledge the student's feelings. So just like Mia was saying, you need to invest that student and let them know, I heard what you just said, and I'm not arguing with you. This isn't me versus you. And really being willing to apologize. So saying to them, I can see how incredibly frustrated you are, and I am really sorry that you are in this situation. I totally understand, whatever it is that they've just said, their family, their kids, their divorce, their life, whatever it is. I so empathize with that. And if you can, gosh, when I was a student, I was a single parent too, and I know exactly what this is like. Empathize with them.